I'm gonna say it. The PS4 controller is the worst controller I've ever used. I would quite literally rather play with the Switch 1 Joy-Con than this controller, and let me explain why. So right now, I'm trying to calibrate my control stick for a game. I managed to get all the inputs set up correctly, but when I go to calibrate it, look, I'm pointing in the top left, but it doesn't go all the way. This is literally the best it's ever been, by the way. Usually, the bottom right and bottom left of, also decided to cut themselves out. We see there is definitely a bit of a problem in these areas in control. You see, the red dot is just not going all the way, even though I'm pressing it right to the edge. So let's see how this affects a game. Now I'm in Sonic 06. And not only is the game a lot more sensitive compared to using my Switch Pro controller or an Xbox 360 controller on the original hardware, but also I am holding in the top right now, and he is just not quite going at full speed. Full speed. I'm holding forward right now and it works just fine, but when I need to turn, I kind of have to do it quickly, otherwise he will lose all the speed. Because if I do it all slowly, he just starts walking. I am pointing top right, a little more towards the right now, and he is just walking. I'm holding it all the way, and he is just walking. And the reason why this is a problem is because when you're trying to jump a far distance in that direction, you're not going to go as far. Now, of course, in Sonic 06, not really an issue because this game doesn't have physics, but in the game with actual physics, it becomes quite a bit of a headache. Especially in games like Sonic Unleashed, which I've used this controller for. I literally had to switch to mouse and keyboard to get a medal, because it literally was not possible with this controller, because the Werehog would just not go in the right direction. Now, let's talk about another problem in this controller. About 6 months to a year, I would say, into use, the mold that the face buttons use actually broke. And basically, how it works is there's a mold behind the face buttons that makes it so that when you press down one of the face buttons, it pops back up again so you can press it. And the one for the cross button actually broke. It just broke. I had to buy a replacement for that mold and put it in. Now, thankfully, it wasn't a decently easy repair job. It wasn't that hard. And also, back to the analog sticks, I did swap out the analog sticks as well, because the repair kit came with those as well, and I decided to repair the analog sticks, and it did nothing. It did nothing. So, basically, what happened was, the X button, it just got stuck inside the controller. It wouldn't pop out again. So, I literally couldn't use it. That's why uploads on the second channel stopped uploads stopped like 5 months in general, because I didn't know what was wrong with my controller. Until I decided to take a peek inside and discover that, oh, this controller has awful durability. Now, let's talk about the battery life. The Switch controllers last basically forever. If you need to charge those out while you're playing, you have a bit of a problem, in my opinion. So, but on this controller, you can expect about like 3 hours of gameplay before it starts drifting. And yes, when the controller does seem to get a little low on battery, it does start drifting. And this has, happened to me before, to the point where I basically used this controller as a wired controller. But then comes another problem, and it's like the USB micro port on this controller also sucks. The wire that this controller came with falls out like all the time. But so I decided to use a slightly more high quality USB micro cable, but it wiggles. But it just, because it's like shoved right at the back, it wiggles about and everything. It's kind of annoying. So that's my Joy-Con grip. Don't worry about that. What else sucks about this controller? I still haven't gotten used to the stick placement. You know, I've been using the Xbox stick placement for basically my entire life. So, you know, I knew it would be hard to adjust, but even now, I find myself while menuing, I always end up going to the D-pad and just can't get used to it. So yeah, this controller absolutely sucks. It doesn't work, it's a bad controller, don't use one. If you have a PS4, I would say buy a third-party controller. Alright, that's it, bye.